In the silence of the pandemic, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie weaves an emotional tapestry with Dream Count, capturing the life trajectories of four African women navigating love and loss. This novel, yet to be translated into Chinese, invites us, with its poetic prose and profound insights, to gaze upon the complex facets of women pursuing selfhood and happiness. Below, we delve into the soul of this work, exploring how Dream Count measures the depth and breadth of human experience, revealing the resilience and vulnerability of women in time and memory. Chapter 1. Dream Count: The Starting and Ending Point of Memory. Dream Count is not a traditional novel, but a ritual of memory. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie weaves the stories of four women, Chiamaka, Zikora, Omelogo, and Kadiatou, into an inner landscape of the pandemic. The title Dream Count plays on the dual meaning of dreams and body counts, serving as both a reckoning of the protagonist's past loves and a questioning of unfulfilled aspirations. Adichie writes in the afterword, "This is a book about mothers, about lives left unfinished." This sense of incompletion runs through the novel, becoming the key to understanding the fates of these four women. Chiamaka, a 44-year-old Nigerian travel writer living alone in Maryland, begins her dream count during pandemic isolation, recalling lovers who stole her time. Her life appears free, but is shrouded in loneliness, as she confesses to her friend Zikora, "I want to be truly known." This longing permeates her memories, from the arrogant Daniel to the steady Chuka, as she examines the disillusionment of love and gaps in self-awareness. Adichie's delicate prose mirrors Chiamaka's inner world, reflecting women's struggles between freedom and belonging. This struggle is not fictional. Nigerian writer Tei Selassie has shared her loneliness writing abroad, facing Western expectations for more African stories. Chiamaka's professional dilemma echoes this. Her editor pushes for stories of a starving Africa, while she insists on portraying complex humanity. Through Chiamaka, Adichie critiques cultural biases while showing how women seek selfhood under external pressures. Chiamaka's Dream Count is not just a tally of relationships but a philosophical reflection on time. It is a dialogue with herself, piecing together her fragmented identity through memories. Her lover Daniel once mocked her, writing as too sentimental, while Chuka's stability left her feeling life's monotony. Adichie writes, "Her memories are like an unfinished book, each page waiting for her pen." This incompletion prompts her to question, is love merely an excuse for time? She recalls her Nigerian childhood, nights sharing stories with her grandmother, realizing true belonging comes from self-acceptance. Nigerian writer Chiamaka, in Second Class Citizen, describes immigrant women seeking self-worth abroad, and Chiamaka's Dream Count is similarly a journey of self-redemption. She recalls her relationship with Daniel, who belittled her writing as not profound enough with academic arrogance. Chuka, conversely, offered safety, but stifled her. Adichie writes, she counts her lovers not to blame them but to understand how time shapes us. Chiamaka's journey shows that memory is not just a record of pain but a starting point for self-reconstruction. Her Dream Count is also a profound reflection on cultural identity. In her Maryland home, facing a blank notebook, she tries to write her story but finds every page tinged with her Nigerian roots. Adichie's nuanced prose captures her inner struggle. Every word she writes feels like a conversation with her homeland. This dialogue is not mere nostalgia, but a questioning of her roots. Who is she? Where does she belong? As an immigrant, she's labeled an African writer in the US yet seen as too westernized in Nigeria. This identity rift forces her to re-examine her choices through her Dream Count. This mirrors Ghanaian American writer Yagiasi's struggle in homegoing, navigating belonging between America and Ghana. Jasi once said, "I don't fully belong here or there." Chiamaka feels the same. Her writing seeks to bridge this gap, but is often interrupted by editors' stereotypical demands. Through Chiamaka, Adichie explores how immigrant women carve out spaces for self-expression in the tension of dual cultures. Her Dream Count is not just a tally of loves but a redefinition of cultural identity. In her memories, she discovers that true being known comes not from lovers but from embracing her roots. In the solitude of the pandemic, her Zoom conversations with Zikora reveal the power of female friendship, a pillar against loneliness. This excavation of memory recalls Brazilian writer Paulo Coelho's The Pilgrimage, where a pilgrim seeks meaning on the Camino de Santiago. Chiamaka's dream count is her inner pilgrimage, reminding us that memory is not an endpoint but a gateway to deeper understanding. Adichie centers Chiamaka's story, weaving in the others to show the resonance and diversity of women across cultures and contexts. Chapter 2: Zikora, a symphony of motherhood and betrayal. Zikora's story is the most maternal chapter in Dream Count. A successful lawyer in Washington, D.C., she is abandoned by her boyfriend during pregnancy, becoming a single mother. Her childbirth scene is harrowing. The pain came like waves, submerging me again and again. Adichie's visceral language captures Zikora's transformation from pregnancy to parenthood, showcasing the resilience and vulnerability of motherhood. She turns to her mother for support, but finds Nigeria's cultural pressure for marriage another shackle. Zikora's struggle recalls media personality Oprah Winfrey's reflections on the challenges of single motherhood and societal bias against it. Zikora faces similar challenges, navigating workplace racial microaggressions and her Nigerian family's expectations of a perfect marriage. Her son, Kadiatou, becomes her anchor, symbolizing hope and continuity. Through Zikora, Adichie explores how motherhood becomes a starting point for self-reinvention, not an endpoint. Zikora's story also reveals the tension between career and family. As a minority woman in a D.C. law firm, she faces subtle biases, forcing her to work harder to prove herself. Pregnancy prompts her to reassess her priorities. Adichie writes, "She thought her career was her armor until her child's cries taught her that vulnerability is strength." Zikora's dream count is not a tally of lovers but a redefinition of self-worth. It leads her to question her choices, especially her defiance of tradition. She rejects her mother's arranged marriage proposals, choosing to raise Kadiatou alone. Adichie writes, "Each choice she made lit a lamp in the darkness." This courage comes at a cost: community gossip and self-doubt. Kenyan writer Ngozi Thiong'o in A Grain of Wheat explores women balancing tradition and modernity, a theme Zikora's story echoes. Her motherhood is a commitment not just to her child, but to herself, to be whole, not a shadow of others' expectations. She is no longer just a lawyer or single mother but a complete woman. Female friendship plays a vital role in Zikora's story. Her Zoom calls with Chiamaka become an emotional haven. As Adichie writes, "The love between women is the only love that doesn't demand we pretend." These conversations ease the isolation of the pandemic, giving Zikora space to breathe under the weight of motherhood. Her relationship with her mother is more complex. Nigerian tradition demands she marry well, but her choice to raise her child alone brings both pain and freedom. Zikora's story shows that motherhood is not just sacrifice but a path to self-realization. Her maternal journey is not smooth. After Chidera's birth, she often faces his cries in the dead of night, feeling a bond both profound and unfamiliar. Adichie writes, "Every cry tested her patience and confirmed her love." In the routine of parenting, Zikora learns to let go of the perfect mother ideal. She begins documenting moments with Kadiatou, a different kind of dream count that records not failed romances but life's continuity. This recalls British writer Rachel Cusk's reflections in A Life's Work on motherhood as both constraint and liberation. Zikora's experience mirrors this. A decisive lawyer at work, she must embrace vulnerability at home. Her mother taught her a woman's value lies in a complete family, but Zikora breaks this mold by raising her child alone. Her dream count ultimately points to a new freedom, not defined by society but written by herself. Chapter 3: Omelogo, Rebellion and Inner Fractures. Omelogo is the most controversial figure in Dream Count. A Nigerian financial powerhouse, she works at a corrupt bank, secretly running a Robin Hood scheme to funnel funds to female entrepreneurs. She anonymously pens a blog, for men only, sharply satirizing male behavior, like, "Dear men, the best way to reduce abortions is to mind where your bodily fluids go." Her wit is laugh out loud, yet it masks inner vulnerability. After arriving in the US for a master's in women's studies, she grapples with depression, questioning her identity and worth. Omelogo's dual identity recalls Indian activist Kavita Krishnan, who exposed gender injustice anonymously online but faced pressure after revealing her identity. Omelogo similarly struggles between anonymity and authenticity. Her blog is a weapon of rebellion, but also shields her fragility. Her depression stems from the shift from Nigerian elite to American student, reflecting immigrant women's struggles to redefine themselves. Adichie writes, "She thought she knew herself until the world forced her to look again." Omelogo's story is the novel's most satirical. Her Robin Hood scheme challenges a corrupt system but treads the edge of morality and law. Her blog mocks male culture, serving as an outlet for her anger. In the US, she faces the contradictions of Western woke culture and courage to express herself yet alienated by her African background. Adichie uses Omelogo to explore how women balance power and morality. Her depression is not abrupt, but a real depiction of the immigrant experience. Psychologist Gerald Wing-Soo notes that immigrant women often face eroded self-worth from microaggressions. Omelogo's blog, though a tool of resistance, cannot fully mend her inner fractures. Her dream count is a tally of power. She is both rebel and victim. Adichie's blend of humor and sorrow shows women's resilience in chaos, reminding us that humor can be a language of resistance but also a mask for pain. Omelogo's blog is not just personal expression but a deconstruction of patriarchal culture. In For Men Only, she playfully exposes male privilege, writing, "Men complain women are complex but forget their own contradictions." Her posts spark debate in Nigeria's online spaces but make her a target for attacks. Adichie shows how women use humor to fight oppression while revealing its cost. Omelogo speaks boldly under anonymity, but faces backlash when exposed. This echoes Egyptian activist Mona El-Tahawi, whose public criticism of sexism sparked controversy but carved space for women's voices. Omelogo's blog is both weapon and shield, protecting her from her inner fragility. Yet in the US, she finds Western feminism no utopia. Classroom discussions marginalize her African perspective often ignored. Adichie writes, "She tried to fill her loneliness with anger, only to find loneliness her truest companion." Omelogo's story reminds us that women's rebellion is both an outward fight and an inward dialogue. Chapter 4. Kadiatou, the voice of the margins and justice. Kadiatou offers the most marginalized perspective in Dream Count. A Guinean single mother working as a housekeeper and cook in the US, she raises her gifted daughter, Binta, alone. Her life is shattered by a sexual assault by a foreign dignitary in a hotel room, sparking a media storm, but no justice. Adichie writes, "Her story was stolen, turned into someone else's headline." Kadiatou's experience draws directly from the 2011 Nafissatou Diallo case, exposing society's disregard for marginalized women. Her story evokes MeToo founder Tarana Burke, who ignited a global movement by sharing her own experiences. Kadiatou finds strength in silence, her daughter Binta her reason to persevere. Her dream count is a tally of survival, each day's endurance a promise for her daughter's future. Adichie uses Kadiatou's story to urge us to hear forgotten voices, emphasizing literature's power as witness and testimony. Kadiatou's narrative is the novel's most impactful. Her assault is not just personal trauma, but a microcosm of social injustice. The media paints her as an unreliable witness, her race and class stripping her of voice in the justice system. Adichie's nuanced psychological portrayal shows how Kadiatou maintains dignity amid humiliation. Her love for Binta is her greatest drive, as she tells her, "You will become a dream bigger than me." The chapter's climax is Chiamaka's visit to Kadiatou, their cross-class dialogue showcasing women's mutual support. Adichie writes, "We are each other's mirrors, reflecting stories yet untold." Kadiatou's story is not just tragedy but a tribute to marginalized women. Her persistence is the novel's most moving force. After her assault, she nearly loses hope, but Binta's smile keeps her going. Adichie writes, "Every step she takes widens the path for Binta." This recalls American activist Rosa Parks, whose quiet resistance fueled the civil rights movement. Kadiatou fights injustice with silence, her dream count weaving hope for her daughter's future. Her story reminds us that marginalized voices, though suppressed, never vanish. Adichie uses Kadiatou as a mirror, urging us to listen to forgotten stories. She is no traditional hero but an ordinary mother resisting the world's noise with quiet persistence. Kadiatou's experience reflects the intersection of class and race. Working in a hotel, she navigates a world ruled by power, her labor taken for granted, her voice systematically ignored. Adichie's delicate prose captures her post-assault psyche. She learned to hide pain behind a smile because the world never cared for her tears. Kadiatou's silence is not weakness but a shield for Binta's future. In her diary, she writes, "I will leave a sky for Binta, even if it's gray now." Her persistence recalls South African activist Nomusa Makay, who fought for Black women's rights during apartheid despite repression. Kadiatou's daughter is her beacon. Binta's talent offers hope, but her mother's social status threatens to limit her. Adichie uses Kadiatou to explore how marginalized women find hope in despair. Her dream count is both a fight for survival and a yearning for justice. Her meeting with Chiamaka is a highlight. Two women from different worlds find resonance in each other's stories. Adichie writes, "Their conversation is an unfinished poem, full of cracks but brimming with light." Chapter 5. The Pandemic Catalyst of Silence. The pandemic in Dream Count is more than a backdrop. It's a catalyst, forcing the four women to confront the disintegration of silence within. Adichie writes, "Isolation made us hear our own breathing, fragile and real." Chiamaka's dream count, Zikora's maternal awakening, Omelogo's depression, and Kadiatou's resistance are magnified in the pandemic's solitude. This existential crisis prompts them to seek life's meaning and find their inner anchors. Psychologist Viktor Frankl, in Man's Search for Meaning, describes finding purpose in extreme conditions. The pandemic, like Frankl's concentration camps, strips away external noise, forcing inward reflection. Chiamaka begins her dream count in isolation, probing why past loves failed. Zikora feels the weight of motherhood in sleepless nights. Omelogo faces a collapse of self-understanding in U.S. classrooms. Kadiatou fights for her daughter's future post-trauma. Through the pandemic, Adichie explores how women reshape themselves in crisis, finding life's final measure. The pandemic also amplifies women's connections. Chiamaka's Zoom calls with Zikora, Omelogo's online discussions with classmates, and Kadiatou's encounter with Chiamaka become bridges against isolation. Adichie uses the pandemic as a metaphor for human resilience and vulnerability. The isolation not only heightens their inner crises, but reveals their reliance on each other. Chiamaka shares childhood memories with Zikora over Zoom, these small talks anchoring them against loneliness. Omelogo re-examines her blog through online classroom debates. Kadiatou finds a sense of belonging in community center volunteering. Adichie writes, "The pandemic trapped us in our rooms but taught us to knock on each other's doors." This recalls Chilean writer Isabel Allende's The House of the Spirits, where characters lean on community to survive turmoil. Dream Count does the same. The women's stories, though distinct, weave into a collective portrait under the pandemic's shadow. Their dream counts are not just personal reflections but part of a shared memory. Through the pandemic, Adichie explores how humans find meaning in crisis, with women's mutual support at its core. Her narrative is both individual and collective. The pandemic shows that life's meaning lies not in perfection but in moving forward through brokenness. Chapter 6. Feminism and Unfinished Conversation. Dream Count is a feminist work, but not a didactic manifesto. Adichie uses the four women's stories to depict their complex realities in love, motherhood, career, and societal expectations. Chiamaka craves being known, Zikora resists marriage pressures, Omelogo challenges corruption, and Kadiatou fights injustice. Their stories converge on a question: how do women define themselves in a patriarchal world? Feminist scholar Bell Hooks, in Feminist Theory, stresses liberation through women's connections. Dream Count echoes this. Chiamaka and Zikora's friendship, and Kadiatou's bond with Binta counter isolation. Adichie's feminism is warm yet fierce, refusing to reduce women to victims or heroes. They are flawed, ordinary people showing extraordinary courage in their struggles. Adichie also critiques patriarchy's many faces. From Daniel's dismissal of Chiamaka's writing to Kadiatou's silencing in the justice system, patriarchy oppresses in varied forms. Yet Adichie doesn't stop at critique. She emphasizes women's agency. Omelogo's Robin Hood scheme, Zikora's single motherhood, and Kadiatou's persistence are acts of defiance. Adichie writes, "Women's happiness is not an endpoint but an ongoing conversation." This dialogue is both personal and societal, urging us to rethink women's value and strength. Adichie's feminism looks beyond individual struggles to broader social structures. Through the four women, she reveals how patriarchy infiltrates their lives in different guises. Chiamaka's editor demands she conform to Western stereotypes. Zikora faces dual gender and racial biases at work. Omelogo's blog is deemed too radical, and Kadiatou's assault is dismissed as unreliable. Adichie writes, "Patriarchy is an invisible net, trapping not just bodies but our stories." This critique recalls Nigerian poet Wole Soyinka, who exposed colonial and patriarchal oppression, calling for the rewriting of silenced voices. Dream Count does the same. Through the women's perspectives, Adichie challenges monolithic images of women. Her feminism is not empty slogans but an embrace of diversity. Chiamaka's romanticism, Zikora's resilience, Omelogo's rebellion, and Kadiatou's silence form a rich tapestry of female experience. Through their stories, Adichie calls us to see women not as objects to be defined, but as subjects defining themselves. Chapter 7, Epilogue: The Beauty of Unfinished Lives. Dream Count offers no tidy resolution, yet its unfinished quality is its heart. Chiamaka keeps writing, Zikora embraces motherhood, Omelogo seeks new paths, and Kadiatou fights for her daughter. Their stories, as Adichie notes in the afterword, embody unfinished lives, the truest kind. This incompletion is not failure, but a commitment to dreams. Poet Maya Angelou wrote, "We move forward with scars, but scars make us stronger." Dream Count shows women measuring life through love and loss with every count. Chiamaka learns to cherish female friendship, Zikora finds strength in motherhood, Omelogo rebuilds herself through depression, and Kadiatou paves a path for Binta. Their stories have no endpoint, yet they brim with hope. Adichie offers Dream Count as an ode to women and a tender gaze at humanity. It reminds us that love, loss, and dreams are parts of an unfinished life. We all count, seeking our own meaning. This novel is not just a literary masterpiece, but a mirror reflecting our desires and resilience.